Hello and welcome. Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose to the Atlanta Falcons 16-13, and not all losses are created equal. This is a tough one because it's a divisional opponent and it was an opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to stamp themselves as the first place frontrunner in the NFC South. Instead, the Falcons now take first place, and the Buccaneers got a tough opponent coming up on a short week in the Buffalo Bills. So this loss falls at the feet of a few people. And Todd Bowles is low-hanging fruit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans to be mad at or ridicule. But sometimes it really does need to be said. And Todd Bowles today had a real coaching display, like an inept coaching display. A lot of just... I can't help but feel like Todd Bowles has no identity. From week to week, he's not consistent. Last week, you look at the ultra-conservative mentality to punt the ball when you're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, instead of letting your offense go for it on fourth down. This week, you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go for a 4th and 6 on their opening drive. Where is the consistency there in that approach? And then later in that very same half this week, they decide to take all 3 timeouts with them into the half and knee it out at the end of the first half after not taking a timeout on defense to potentially preserve some time for their offense. So what is the approach? Is it aggressive? Is it conservative? Todd Bowles has always been more conservative, but a 4th and 6 attempt when you've got a good punter who could potentially pin him deep, I don't understand that. And I'm not saying conservative is the way to go, and I'm also not saying aggressive is the way to go. I'm saying consistency is required. Good teams have an identity, and no matter what that identity is, they have it and they play towards it. Todd Bowles doesn't seem to have an identity right now. He's an identityless coach, and as a result, the Buccaneers kind of live as an identityless team. I don't understand it. Then you also look at the conservative nature of appearing to play for a field goal at the end of the game rather than just going guns blazing for the touchdown. It's just a weird mixed bag of we want to be this, but we try to be this, and we're not either. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles got to find an identity. That bothers me. The other thing that I really take away from this game is, and this is kind of a compound issue because it's one issue compounding another. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers' weakest unit on the team is probably their offensive line. Now, the best player on the whole team might very well be Tristan Wirfs, individually speaking. And they also have Luke Goedeke, who's been a very improved offensive lineman this year. He's really stepped up. He's been great. However, the offensive line is 5 parts. Those are 2. That means there's 3 more. The 3 remaining parts have been atrocious for really 2 years in a row now, because last year that was a big issue with the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers offense of 2022. And now in 2023, yes, there's some new faces sprinkled in that interior 3, but it's the same results. It's not good. And whether it's missed blocks, holding penalties, false starts, the Buccaneers' interior 3 linemen have let the team down majorly this season. And that issue is compounded by the fact that the Buccaneers, for 2 years in a row, with 2 different offensive coordinators, which leaves one common denominator, Todd Bowles, the Buccaneers continually sacrifice first down. They don't even care about it. The Buccaneers go into drives basically knowing they have 2 downs to get about 9 yards, because first down is a run up the middle for 1 yard. Has to be. It's almost as if the Buccaneers play as if it's a mandate. They have to run the ball on first down. Not only do they have to run it on first down, but it has to be a run up the middle. And the issue with the Buccaneers' offensive line as presently constructed is the weakest portion of that group is the middle 3 blockers. So when you run the ball up the middle, you're really asking your weakest offensive starters to put the offense on their back consistently. And I don't know, I guess to the surprise of the Buccaneers coaching staff, that's not working. I don't know how many times you can do the same thing and expect a different outcome. The Buccaneers spent far too many first downs running the ball up the middle. And it drives me a little bit crazy because I'm actually a fan or just a spectator of the NFL who believes in running the football. I don't think you should pass it all the time. I think you need balance. And I think teams that run the football are good teams, right? That's a strong winning formula. But that does not mean, in order to be a team that runs the football, you don't have to run it on first down. Every first down, right up the middle. You could throw it on first down and run it on second. Whoa. You don't have to have every first down be a handoff up the middle to ensure that you're a running team. There are other more creative ways to establish the ground game. Why the Buccaneers feel so compelled to hand it to Rachaad White or Keyshawn Vaughn up the middle on first down, I will never understand. I don't think it's a good use of personnel. I don't think it's a good offensive scheme. I don't think it's a good mentality because you're just throwing away first down. If you were to look at the statistics, it would very clearly tell you runs up the middle are not working, yet you continue to do it. I don't understand that. And I don't, again, obviously I'm talking about offensive play calling, so it'd be easy to blame Dave Canales, but it's 2 years in a row of this with 2 separate offensive coordinators, so that leads me towards the head coach because you're the one who presided over both coordinators. Why the runs up the middle every first down? I don't understand. Someone's got to help me out with that because Rachaad White has proven, while he may not be a dominant running back, Rachaad White is a good football player in space. When the Buccaneers throw him the ball in space, or he ever gets out in space on a run, he does well. He's tough to bring down. He makes people miss. Stop running him up the middle every first down. That doesn't play to his strengths. It doesn't play to the strength of the offensive line. It does not play to the strength of the offense as a whole. So why is that the consistent formula? I don't understand. The other thing that really bothers me is at the end of the game, the offense potentially, we could argue they were playing for a time. They were trying to manage the clock a little bit too much. But ultimately, the Buccaneers had 3 shots to the end zone from a first and goal situation. Okay, the first play goes to Chris Godwin. I didn't love the, Godwin wasn't overly open. Turns into an incomplete pass. The second play goes to Chris Godwin. Again, not overly open. Turns into an incomplete pass. And the third play is a sack. To me, the ball, when you are in that situation, game on the line, the ball must find your best players. And Chris Godwin should get a rep, but Mike Evans should get a rep. You can't come away with 3 opportunities from a third and goal situation and not give Mike Evans a singular opportunity to make a play. Mike Evans is the best skill position player the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. He's the biggest playmaker on your offense. You have to give him a chance, okay? And I understand there's definitely a chance that, I don't know because I didn't watch any film on the plays, obviously, or anything like that to this point. But yes, there may be a chance Mike Evans was double covered, something to that effect. Regardless, every coordinator, every offense, every scheme has plays to get their best player the ball down and distance. Doesn't matter the situation where even if the player is doubled, you can get this play will guarantee, no matter the coverage, whether it's man or zone, that this player will get open. You gotta have it plays for your best players. And in those situations, when the game is on the line, those gotta have it plays have gotta come out. Excuse me. You have to find a way to have Mike Evans touch the ball. I apologize. Excuse me. Mike Evans needs the ball in that situation, and I that's a tough pill to swallow because as the best player on the team, you want the ball, right? No disrespect to Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, a grown man at wide receiver too. And Chris Godwin deserves a rep in that opportunity too. He got the first down rep. Second down, I got to find Mike Evans. Third down, I got to find Mike Evans. He needs an opportunity to make a play. The other thing that drives me a little bit crazy is the Buccaneers played for the tie, I feel like, at the end. And they played the entire game as if their defense was playing lights out. The Buccaneers defense statistically only let up 16 points. And up until the last drive, they only let up 13. But those statistics are very skewed because the Falcons turned the ball over 2 times from the 1-yard line. Desmond Ridder fumbled at the 1-yard line 2 times in this game and was in scoring range in the red zone 3 times he fumbled. So, yes, the Buccaneers defense statistically in terms of points allowed was stellar in this game. You should win games. I mean, if their offense puts up 2 touchdowns and a field goal, they come away with this win. But it didn't feel like a dominant performance because the Falcons moved down the field. And by the way, did nothing that you wouldn't expect them to do. They ran the ball relentlessly, barely threw it at all down the field. The one time they threw it down the field, you got beat by Scotty Miller, which, if Scotty Miller is in the game, you ought to know what is coming. I mean, Bucs fans and Bucs players have watched it for years. Scotty Miller does one thing very well, and that's it. So when he's in the game, you can expect that one thing to be happening. Regardless, good for Scotty Miller. Congratulations to him. I'm sure that was a very big moment for him. But you gotta, nothing the Falcons did should have caught you off guard if you were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and yet it looked like it did. And Antoine Winfield Jr. stripping that ball at the goal line out of Desmond Ridder's hand saves the game. Because if Desmond Ridder runs in the end zone there, the game is pretty much out of reach. Antoine Winfield Jr. gives you the opportunity to stay in that game, but for Todd Bowles and this coaching staff to play as if the defense was going to just lock out the Falcons, as the Falcons continued to march down the field on long drives and control the ball, I don't agree with the conservative nature of the defensive approach. I don't agree with the conservative nature of the offensive approach. And I just think ultimately at the end, that's what bites you in the butt, right? Your defense let you down at the end because your defense played well. Statistically, on the scoreboard, they played well, right? But at the end of the game, they only needed a field goal, did the Falcons. So what did the Falcons do? They got a field goal because they have been driving into field goal range the whole day. Desmond Ridder and the Falcons should have had 3 more field goals at least. Okay? If he just doesn't fumble, they're getting 3 more field goals. So why you thought in that moment, let's have our offense kind of play it conservatively and play for that field goal so our defense can stall them and we can end in the tie, I do not understand. And that's not even me discussing Todd Bowles' decision or going with an in-depth discussion into Todd Bowles' decision to not use a timeout at the end of the first half at any point and just knee it out and let halftime approach. I really think Tampa Bay coaching staff kind of let the players down today. It's disappointing because I look at this as a very winnable game. And it was a winnable game against a highly critical opponent on your schedule because of what's next coming down the pipe and because of divisional standings and everything for looking for tiebreakers down the line and things like that for the playoffs. The Buccaneers with a big loss today. There's really no sugarcoating it. Very few positives to pull from the game. Tough. Just a tough all-around game. And the Buccaneers, they got to figure out who they are. That's the key going forward. Who are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?